Hello, my name is Steve Gonzalski, and welcome to one of the classes that I will be teaching Spring 2025. The purpose of this video is to get you up and running with the class. So the first thing that you want to make sure you understand how to do is to get into Canvas. So if you're not already watching this video in Canvas, I'm going to show you how to get there. Easiest way is just go to the college's website, so saddleback.edu. And then up at the top under logins, one of the things that you'll see will be to log into Canvas. You'll probably come to a page that looks like this. And then all you need to do is have the same credentials that you used to sign up for this class in the first place. But I'm going to give you a resource for help if you have any trouble with that. So in the email that I sent out to you at the beginning of class, you will see some links in here. One of them is actually a phone number, and that is for Canvas support. And then we have a link for the technical help desk at Saddleback. And you may want to just pay attention to this if you're having trouble getting there. But this will take you through everything from your student ID number, what to do if you never got one, how to reset or change your password, basically anything that you can imagine that you're having problems with, and then also one that takes you directly to support for Canvas itself. And then once you get into Canvas, you just want to look for the class that you're in with me. Now, my view is going to be quite a bit different, but if you're taking one class, you may only have one of these. If you're taking multiples, you may have several to choose from. Just look for the one that matches the class you enrolled in. So I'm just going to randomly click on one of these. If it's not the class that you're in, don't worry about it, because everything that I'm showing you in this first video pertains to every class that I'm teaching. The first thing that you should see is the home page. If you see another page for whatever reason, just come up to the top over here and click on home. If you don't see this menu, you may have to click on this hamburger menu up there, because it makes the side menu appear and disappear. The one thing that will look different here is the 2 videos for getting started will appear on your home page. Just make sure that you take some notes, whether you do it electronically or on pen and paper. I just think that's a very smart way to go about a class. Any of the key things that we cover, like how to name files, where to go for information, it's just really nice to have all that stuff in one place so that you never get hit with that panicked feeling. I'm guessing you probably know this already, but just in case, once you're watching the videos, if you want to make them bigger, you just click on this icon over here. And then if you want to make me talk faster or slower, you have the speed options. Anything that you think should probably be explained more thoroughly in this video, don't worry. You'll have a whole series of welcome videos to watch after you watch these first getting started videos. I want you to know that I care about you as a student and your experience in the class, so I'm going to try to make everything as accessible and as straightforward in this class as possible. Hopefully this problem is not as prevalent as it used to be, but a lot of times I'd get emails from students telling me that the video instruction was not available, that the video had an error. Just simply go up to the refresh for the browser and hit that, and then if the video was not showing a proper play button, that should take care of it. And use Google as your browser when you're using Canvas and watching the videos. Everything seems to work the best using Google Chrome. Whenever you need help with something, technical issues about Canvas or many other subjects, you have 2 ways of getting to that information. One is you can just go to the college website like we showed earlier and just go into the search bar. So let me just show you where that is. So right here, you can just type in whatever you want. But once you're in Canvas, the college has done something that I think is really nice. So you have this student technical support button. And let me just make sure it looks as much like what you would see as possible. So I'm going to switch to student view. And then when you click on this, it populates with a ton of stuff from the technical support, which I've showed you earlier, counseling, disabled student services. So just a ton of great links, the Student Health and Wellness Center. It's important to know that there are no software substitutions allowed in this class. We will be using the Adobe Creative Suite. Now, if you're taking a class in person and you're going to be using the computers at the college, and by the way, we do have 4 computers available in the Learning Resource Center for iMacs. So you could get by that way, but a lot of students want to get the software for themselves. So just make sure that you are getting the full, not the version made for tablets and phones and Chromebooks, but the full version of the Creative Cloud. The best deal that I know of going on right now is right here at store.collegebuys.org. Feel free to do your own shopping because getting the software is 100% on you. But usually right on the top page, you'll see, like right here is a link for Adobe, but of course you could just search it right here. And well, let's just take a look because I think, yeah, the prices are great. So basically $50 for a half year, $100 for a full year. And this is the one that you want, the full Creative Cloud. Now, it's very important that you follow their instructions and understand that installing the software is not the same as being licensed to use it. So basically, you can go to Adobe's website and download the software, and you'll end up with a little link like I have up here that lists all the different programs and might even allow you to update them, but going to use them is something totally different. And that's what you get through this link or however you choose to get it. But if you email me and tell me that you're having troubles with the download, there's absolutely nothing that I can do. It is 100% through whatever vendor you choose to use. So you will get emails from them. You will have to follow the exact instructions of their emails. It probably is going to take about 5 days for you to get the passcode from the time you start the process. They do offer a 7-day free trial if you've never used it before to get you through that probable 5-day period. If you did this just for the half year, just be warned that it is going to run out. And a big thing is that not having software is not, and I repeat, is not a valid excuse for turning work in late. So if something goes wrong for you while you're working on your own personal computer and your own personal software, again, just remember that we have the 4 Macs in the Learning Resource Center, and there is more information about this on the homepage for your class in Canvas. And speaking of late assignments, just please remember that the due date / time for assignment is not the time to turn it in. Right? Try to get your work done a couple days before it's due, because what that final date and time means is that that is the very last time to turn it in without it being considered late. Now, the good news is I do accept late work. There are penalties associated with late work, just like there would be if you work for somebody. Luckily, they're not as serious as getting fired or anything like that. But you'll learn a lot more about this when you get to the welcome videos. Emailing me this semester, please do it through Canvas. And let me just show you how you would do that. So inside of Canvas, there's this little link here that's called the inbox link. And when you click on that, of course, I can't show you it because I don't have a student account, but there'll be a drop box up here. In fact, let me just show you mine because it'll be very similar. Over on the left here, which is off screen, you would see all the previous emails you've sent and received. And then to send an email, you would click on Compose. And then the key thing to send me an email is to use this To section here, and you'll see instructors. And don't worry about the fact that it sounds like it's plural. I am the one and only instructor for this class, so it will go to me. The reason that I ask you to email me through Canvas is that I'm in Canvas a lot, so you will get my priority by emailing me that way. Also, it tells me what class you're emailing from, so please do not just go use my regular email. Now, it's important that you have my regular email just in case you need to give it to someone who's not in this class. That may need to reach me, like say Disabled Student Services or something like that. So it is located on the syllabus up near the top of any class that you're taking with me. And please don't take this personally, but a lot of times my emails are more short, to the point, like a text would be. So there probably won't be any name or salutation on it. I'll just get to your question and just immediately start with the response. Please do keep your emails on point to me. Sometimes for whatever reason, I have to read like through 3 paragraphs of stuff that has nothing really to do with the question. Sometimes it is students that are indeed hurting, like mentally, for example. And I'll help you the best I can, but please, if you are really hurting mentally, make sure that let me just show. So of course the most extreme would be suicide prevention. So you've got a 988 number that you can call, a 988 number that you can text. But if it's not quite that serious, but you do need to see somebody, then going to this little ring buoy again and going down to the Student Health and Wellness Center is going to be your best option to talk to someone at the college. And as you'll hopefully clearly learn when you go through the welcome videos, I treat all students equally, meaning that I follow exactly what is in the syllabus. And the only excuse you really ever have to email me is a proper doctor excuse. Otherwise, I treat you as an adult, meaning that if you're late with your work, you don't have to write me a long excuse you don't even have to email me at all and tell me that you're turning in work late. Just simply turn it in late. Now you generally, and you'll learn about this in detail in the syllabus and so on, but you have about a 2-week maximum to get most assignments in. For some, it's a little bit shorter. But you're just going to get a penalty on turning it in late unless you have a legitimate doctor excuse that you can email me. The other email that comes up often is technical questions. If you have a technical question, it's often very hard for you to explain what the issue is and can be difficult for me to explain the answer. Well, especially if I don't really know what the issue is. So on the homepage for your class, I prepared a video that goes through and tells you how to structure a technical question. So in other words, a question about something that we're doing in the software that you can't figure out how to do. Now, if it's the software itself, again, that's handled through the vendor and or Adobe directly, depending on what the issue is. If it's with Canvas or anything else, you go to this support hub over here. But if it's directly related to the class, then follow the instructions in here, which generally the best way is for you to make a video showing me exactly what you thought should be happening as opposed to what is actually happening, and then 99% chance that I'll be able to answer your question. So the best way to navigate my classes are always start with, perusing the home page, of course, making sure you're familiar with the class. But then as the class progresses, you would click on the announcement tab and you'll only see these weeks populate 1 week at a time. And so I'll just pick a random one. Let's say it's week number 5. You go in here, and of course it's probably not your same class, but anyway, you'll just see if there's anything important, I'm going to put it up here near the top. So you always want to read that, and then you want to get to what's actually due this week, and then it'll typically instruct you where to go next, which will be the modules. And then, for example, week number 5, you would click on modules and you would go scroll down until you get to module number 5, and then just make sure that you follow each module 1 unit at a time. It's always a top-down approach with your instruction in the modules. Now, if you are in a purely online class, the other thing that will happen with the announcements is each week I will put a video in the announcement after I grade the bulk of the work for the class, and I will talk about key things that came up. So as soon as I do that, I will send you an email. It will probably have in the header, grades are in, please watch the announcement video. And it will be essential that you watch that video, because anything that I update in that video will then become part of the class instruction. I will go over the modules in much greater detail in the welcome videos, but again, please make sure you start at the top and work your way down, because if ever you use a other method than just the top-down approach in the modules, there's a 95% chance that it's not going to work for you. So I highly suggest that you do not use the calendar to get issued your assignments. go into the modules, do them in order. A lot of times there's going to be a button that you need to mark as complete. Otherwise, it will not open up the next module for you. Let me just give you an example of that. You can see how all of these are grayed out. The reason is because you need to just start up at the top and then you click next. And then some of these will not only have the next button to get into the next module, they will have this right here that says mark as done. So those are the pages that I consider more critical, the ones that have video instruction that is a must watch. Another important thing with the modules is you're never going to turn in anything more than 1 week before the due date. So make sure that you're looking at the due date as you're going through the assignments in the modules. Normally, if it's, say, for example, week number 3 and you're in module 3, everything in there is going to be due in week number 3. So that's easy. But sometimes in, for example, module 3, there'll be a link that takes you to the finished page of a project. So let me try to explain that a little bit better. So you'll have a project that's not due till week number 5, but you're in week number 3 and you're doing something for that project. You know, it's going to take us 2 weeks to complete the project. We're not just starting and finishing it in week number 3. Well, in order for you to see what all the requirements are by the time that project's finished, there'll be a link and it'll jump you into week number 5. So don't make the mistake of turning in the project in week number 5. You need to turn in what's due in week number 3. And here's a little example of how you would see the due date once you're in the module. Sometimes it shows up near the bottom, especially if there's files that you need to submit for the given assignment. And when you submit work to me, don't submit incomplete work. Now, you may have had instructors in the past that actually want you to do that if you can't finish an assignment on time. But in my class, I start grading the work once it has been submitted. So in other words, if you were supposed to turn in 2 files, but you only had time to finish one of them, hold on to both. Finish it late, not a good habit to get into, but finish it late, then turn in both files, and then when I have your submission, I will grade it. There will be a link for you called grades. We'll talk more about that in the orientation module, aka the welcome videos. Now, your next step in this class is going to be watching the very next video that is on the home page. And that will be specific to the class that you're enrolled in. And then after that, you will go to the modules and you will start going through the orientation module, which contains about 90 minutes of videos. That takes me about 3 hours to go over in person. So most students like it this way because it's condensed. It's right there. You're going to take some notes and then you're going to take a quiz, and that's going to ensure that you have a great experience in this class, that you really truly understand all of the expectations of the class. Okay, if your class meets in person, once class time is established, I'll generally write on the board what's going on. Then there's no need for you to ask me if you can go to the bathroom. You just want to make sure that you're back in class before the next thing that's on the board is going to happen. And then raising your hand to get my attention in class is not always the best way. Now, if we're talking, I'm doing a lecture, then of course I'll look for hands to be raised. But if we're working in class, don't just sit there with your hand up forever, because a lot of times your computer's in the way, my computer's in the way. So if you're close, just yell out, "Hey, Steve." If you're far away, just walk up to the desk, get my attention, and I'll help you. Please bring earbuds/headphones with you to every class, because you often will be able to get a jump on the next assignment by just simply watching the next video. Also, if you're waiting for me to help you and I have 3 students ahead of you, a lot of times you can just jump into the video instruction, back through it, and find the answer to your question. Another thing, if you're in an in-person class, is bring in your login credentials because you will need those to access the classroom computer. So again, that would be probably your email and your password that was assigned. And again, if you can't find that, then go over here to the student support and reach out, and they will be able to help you with that. All right, see you in the next video.